From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big morning of early mornings LALATE with incredible details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Your $3.5 trillion recon passing last Saturday. I'll go over all the incredible details as the number one guy in the Senate, his staff telling a viewer's wife that she is inserting a monthly stimulus check in there. And guess who that guy is? It's Chuck Schumer. Wow. In this recording, we'll go over cluster number one's checks passed, cluster number two's checks passed, and cluster number three's checks passed. Checks in there for hazard pay, seniors, workers, children, adults, and also bikes, cars, but nothing for electric surfboards. I'm very upset. Then we cut to the big exciting details as your debt ceiling limit done. That's done, but not done to December. We'll be back in just about 2 weeks from now. September done, so sorry, calendar calling. It's no longer September, it's October. And I don't have a character for that yet, at least not yet. Then we got to the big exciting details. An additional $13 billion coming out to cities, counties, and states. I'll go over all the dramatics that erupted this week and even yesterday as the president said, you know what? What do you want to do with my recon? The fireworks started then, and the fireworks will be continuing all day today because the news cycle is far from over. The only thing over is just calendar calling storyline. Sorry, calendar calling. It's no longer September, it's October. And this is a day in which I hope I get some bacon. And this is Early Mornings LA. Hey, good afternoon, good early morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day across the globe. The President of the United States really stepping up his push for that big recon after dramatics this week and a dramatics of a scandal letter yesterday that set off fireworks like it was the 4th of July. What was that scandal letter? Of all the incredible details. But for now, your recon passing $3.5 trillion of checks in there. Checks for seniors, checks for workers, checks for independent contractors, and more. I'll go over all the incredible details of that. I'll be going over each of the clusters, and then the big exciting news as Chuck Schumer's office tells another viewer who advocated for a stimulus check, it's going in there. This is after 1,000 other viewers have told viewers of this channel that's going in there. I'll tell you all the details. And meantime, what to anticipate for the weekend, because guess what? The government's open. They're still going to be open for business. Now time to do some recon work. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, because guess what? If it happens, it's here. If it's detailed, it's here. Saturday night, last weekend, they passed a $3.5 trillion recon in the Senate budget, in the House Budget Subcommittee, and no broadcast channel covered it, no print media covered it, no other YouTube channel covered it except here. That's why you stay here for the details. All throughout this week, I've had twists and turns of whether it's a Senate, our House, progressive or moderate saying something about your recon. I've covered every twist and turn, and we'll be doing that today. The news cycle changing on the hour by the hour yesterday. Expect much of the dramatics for this day as well. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Let's get to all the incredible details with that $3.5 trillion recon passing last Saturday. In the thick of the night, the House Budget Committee passed your $3.5 trillion recon. In there, cluster number one, cluster number two, and cluster number three's checks. Let's go over each of them one at a time with understanding that the recon is checks for everyone, individuals, seniors, everyone, and is not COVID related. Cluster number one's checks pass. Hazard pay, money for seniors, money for children, $51,000 of MSCs, home repairs, college grants, and also bikes, cars, and truck money. All right, let's go over the details. First, hazard pay is in there. Lifetime, huge. Hazard pay got in there by expanding the earned income tax credit lifetime with a change of an old tax code, broadening the eligibility, and increasing the amount of money. A big success for this channel, which was the biggest source of advocacy on the globe. 300 videos in 2020. Now they're making it lifetime. Number two, money to care for the elderly at home, up to $4,000 a year per person. Then up to $4,000 a year to care for a young child. They got money in there for college grants for college students, to university, to the student, and also making the Pell Grant tax-free. They also got the repairs for the home in a low-income community covered in there as well. Money will be coming to you if you want to make those repairs. Then CTC, $51,000 of MSCs. Wow, incredible. Monthly stimulus checks, MSCs got in there at $51,000 a pop for the extension of the child tax credit, the CTC. First, broadening the eligibility to include parents that are not biological, and then making CTC a lifetime. How much does it pay? A lot. If you're a family in a low-income household, then up to $300 every month for every year for up to 18 years that child is in a low-income household. Per child, that's $51,000. Then they got money in there for new bikes, new cars, and new trucks, all electric and by U.S. auto manufacturers. Up to 15% of the purchase price for a new electric bike, up to $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle for personal use, and a little bit more if the vehicle's for business use or it's a vehicle for a truck for business use. In a second, we'll be going to cluster number 2's checks in their past, cluster number 3's checks in their past. Really incredible. But first, let's take a detour over the third stimulus, with the big surprise as Treasury sent out additional $13 billion for renting utilities to your cities and counties and states. This is huge because Treasury was preparing for a potential government shutdown, no longer happening because the debt ceiling limit agreed to, not yesterday, but really the day before. I was the first to record it on Evenings LALATE, not last night, but the night before. Now it was finalized late last night, but Treasury is smart to get this money out ahead of any potential shutdown. Treasury is happy to provide the state and local governments with the additional monies for Americans in time of rental assistance. It's rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance, and I'm going to show you how you get it later in this video. But now let's turn to the next pot of money, and that is some more checks. Ready for cluster number 2? I am. There's a lot of checks in cluster number 2. No less than 12 of checks. And what are they starting with? Paid family leave and paid medical leave. Family leave, you have to stay at home because your wife is pregnant. Medical leave, you have to stay at home because your child broke his leg. How much does it pay? A fortune. $1,700 would make $70,000 or more per year. Split in half. $800 a week if you made $35,000 a year. Split in half again. $400 a week if you made $15,000 a year. Money is going from the federal government to the employer and then to you. Then they got other checks in there, all deliciousness. They got build up of child care programs, household tax credits. Then checks for seniors like dental, vision, hearing care checks, and reduction Medicare eligibility checks. Then they got checks for weatherizing your home. Really needed, especially if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. You know what, moderate Democrats in the House? But unfortunately they are. Yeah, the golf game. Then they got universal pre-kindergarten. Definitely needed for those people who can get the debt ceiling limit done in like 12 hours. Why did it take 3 days? Doesn't do, yeah. You need to take free pre-kindergarten classes. And then we have tuition-free community college. Definitely needed to take that new popular language, foreign language. It's called Los Angeles. If you're not bilingual in Los Angeles and you're still watching me, you need to take the class. We just say kale salad in every sentence. How are you? Kale salad. There you go. That is deliciousness of cluster number 2's checks. What about cluster number 3? I'm going to go over those in a second. And then the IRS monthly stimulus checks right after that. But where's Congress? What is Congress doing? Well, Congress just had a bloodbath, a mess all week long. In fact, by the end of yesterday, it was very, very clear what Congress had not done and what they had done. What they had not done, Democrats, is shown a cohesiveness of keeping promises to one another. Liz Warren, Bernie Sanders, Nancy Pelosi were among the people who slammed the moderate Democrats yesterday, saying you just don't keep promises. You don't keep promises from 2 months ago. You don't keep promises from 2 weeks ago. Moderate Democrats made a deal to do the debt ceiling limit in a certain way, and Nancy Pelosi emerged from a meeting yesterday saying, you're not keeping promises from 2 weeks ago about this. And if you're worried about how it's going to look like on a billboard advertisement, it's already on the billboard advertisement from 2 weeks ago. That was actually a great quote. Then Liz Warren saying, we agreed to do 2 bodies of legislation, recon and bipartisan at the same time. And that was a promise 2 months ago. Do you not remember your promise? Bernie Sanders saying the same thing as well. That was a reoccurring theme. The other reoccurring theme that was happening among progressives and moderates was a lot of really bad power games and name calling, where the goth gang, the moderate Democrats, saying that the progressives are really just a few people, that they're a small fraction, that they're on the fringe, where the progressives saying, you know what, there's 60 of us that don't like what you're doing, and you only need to have 3 people to piss off to have trouble, because remember, the margin of victory in the House is 3 Democrats. We had the president aligning himself with the progressives because he was not getting his way with the moderate Democrats. When the moderate Democrats were weak with the president, they would not only not keep their promise to him, they would just keep silence. He asked, "What do you think about the recon?" I can't hear you. Moderate Democrat, what do you think about the recon? Not answering. And then, as if that was not enough, came the scandal letter. Yes. Have you heard the scandal letter? If you didn't much catch it on yesterday's shows, I have it coming up later in this video. It makes the most tantalizing soap opera boring. It's coming up later in this video. But let's cut to the third cluster checks, and they got those in there, and those are deliciousness. Those checks are the president's checks, free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, checks for internet, checks for workers like independent contractors, checks for seniors like dental, vision, hearing care, and glowing eligibility checks. Wow, incredible details. 2 of the checks in here, the president particularly likes, and I like, because there's instant savings to your wallet. First, you go to the pharmacy today to fill a prescription, because you got a very bad headache from listening to the moderate Democrats. So here's 2 $20 bills to stop that headache, and you pay for the prescription. Then they pass the recon, and then the moderate Democrats are still annoying you. You still got that headache again. So you go back to refill the prescription. You may only have to take out one $20 bill from your wallet. Then they're going to offer free internet across the board, red, blue, states, rich, poor. Will be offered from your local city and county states. Federal government going to give them fortunes to run it. So all you have to do is say, hey, what's the username and password? The username is Goth Gang Go Away, and the password is Jalapal. Get them. There you go. Later in this video, we'll go over the dramatics that happened yesterday, the day before, and the dramatics anticipated for today. I've seen dramatics like this in a while. And Pelosi had the task yesterday to choose, do I show the dramatics or do I sort of soften it? And I think she showed that she wanted to soften it because she didn't want to show that there was a divisive nature going on in the Democratic Party, even though there is. Even though there is. I'll go over all the incredible details. But now let's turn to the monthly IRS stimulus check. Yesterday, we learned that Donnie's wife, you've met Donnie on this channel, Donnie's wife started advocating as well for the family. And so she picked up the phone and called Senator Chuck Schumer, Majority Leader Senator Chuck Schumer, advocated for the inclusion of monthly stimulus check in the forced stimulus recon. And he said yes. His staff said yes. It's actually going in there. Wow. Now, what's important to understand is that as this week is unfolded, we have had a few days since the passage of the $3.5 trillion recon in that subcommittee last Saturday. And what's happened this week? Sanders' office confirming it's still going in there, that IRS monthly stimulus check. AOC Jalapal, Omar, and now Schumer's office confirming the same. Viewers have taken my guidance and continue to advocate. As Lynn Glenn said, you need to keep on advocating. Don't just stop advocating in one moment and just pick it up. You need to keep on advocating. And that advocation has worked. Now, let's remember, and this is very important messaging, that what happened on Saturday was the passage of the recon, but it's more like an envelope instead of the piece of paper. Nancy Pelosi, after the passage of the recon that Saturday night, and the President of the United States, both have said the same thing, which is, you know what? You want to add stuff? You can add stuff to the bill. It's sort of like an envelope is how they're describing it. That if you want to add things in the package, you can add things in there. Just tell me. And ironically, going into the weekend, that's what Pelosi had told viewers of this channel, that she's inserting a monthly stimulus check provision. Since last weekend, this week, and ironically, even before last weekend, nearly 1,000 viewers of this channel were told the same verb tense by Democratic senators and Democratic House members. It's a future verse tense, like it's going in, will be going, will be amended, to be added. Not that it was in, it's been written, it has nothing past tense. It was all future tense. And this is consistent with what Pelosi and the president said last weekend and all this week, that we're adding things in there. That's what Ron Wyden said, Democrat, senator, progressive. And he said, I'm adding in unemployment changes so more people get unemployment benefits still going forward later this year. He said, I'm adding things in there. How do things get added? Well, if it's a House side, it's added on the House side. And AOC and Jalapal and Omar and Pelosi's office saying they're adding it in there. But Senators also telling viewers of this channel they're adding it in there. I'll have all those details and more as we come up later in this video. But first, here's a commercial break. I'll be coming back in a second to go over the big money under third stimulus, the big dramatics that happened yesterday, why the protection of this recon has helped, and then the big money for those IRS MSC checks, and what the Democratic caucus members are telling viewers of the channel. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Early Mornings LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Early Mornings LA as we go into a big weekend. But guess what? The dramatics are far from over. Because, boy, there were fireworks all yesterday, and I'm going to go over those fireworks at Capitol Hill. Congressional fireworks are like you have never seen on this channel. There they go. The progressives and the moderates going after each other on everything from the debt ceiling limit to infrastructure to the recon. I'll go over more about those dramatics in this video. We'll be cutting over to the exciting details as more Democrats step forward and say, you know what? I'm putting that IRS stimulus check in there. I'll go over what you need to know in this recording. Then we cut to the big exciting details of what the president did to flex his muscles to ensure your recon is protected. We'll go over all the big money that is still in there and that could be still added. And then my prediction for the weekend, because boy, we got a lot still coming up. It's a big day, and this is Early Mornings LA. So subscribe. With 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Boy, it's going to be a changing news cycle. We will see if the news cycle is changing by the hour on the hour today. I believe it will be. And then certainly this weekend, stay with me because there were so many shots fired this week. Expect the weekend to just be a war of words, and you need to be on top of it. Last weekend was the weekend when they passed that recon in that subcommittee, and you tuned in on big numbers, so don't miss this weekend's shows as well. Subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Let's take a detour for just a second over to the exciting details of third stimulus. The third stimulus is a big surprise, and that big cash infusion coming out from the president for third stimulus is definitely needed. Rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance getting the final $13 billion cash infusion from Treasury. Get a pen, paper, cell phone ready because I'm going to go over the big money you can get for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more starting right now. The numbers have gone up 200%, 300%, 400% in just the last 30 days. When we look at the rent, the numbers were $20,000 for members of this channel a month ago. Now, how high have they gone? Let's look at the details. Here's Mark. You remember $51,000 Mark? That's him. Well, the numbers on rent, like Mark's rent was $25,000. Now viewers are getting $40,000. We had the big numbers on utilities grow all the way to $15,000, a 300% increase. And then we have the money for SNAP now growing to $21,000, a 400% increase. Viewers are really stepping up and getting these big sums of money. I'm going to show you how to get this big money right now. Get a pen, paper, cell phone ready. We're going to get rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. First, I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. You reach out to all 6. They have different pots of money. They have different eligibility. Next, list the keywords I say in this video. And number 3, listen, get ready for the nonprofits because you want a refrigerator, they may have one for you as well. Here are the 6 places you reach out to: your city hall, your city house authority; your county hall, your county house authority; your state hall, and your state house authority. Keywords are going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. There you go. Again, those 6 places: city hall, city house authority; county hall, county house authority; state hall, and state housing authority. Meantime, what about a Treasury letter? If you're a member to this channel, daily in the newsletter, I include now the Treasury statement about the $13 billion. Read it before you call up asking for the rent, because I want you to know what this money is. You call them up, ask to be on the waiting list. You call them up. They don't have the waiting list, ask to call the next day, because it's going to land there everywhere: red, blue, rich and poor cities and states. And I want you to be first in line. Utilities. Get all the utilities you can. If you have 5 utility companies, get those as well. And then the nonprofits. How about a new fridge? 2 viewers are getting new fridges. 1 viewer getting a furnace and a window fixed. And 1 viewer saying St. Vincent de Paul paying rent very quickly. Another saying the big praise of United Way. Here are the 5 nonprofits to reach out to: City Hall, City House, United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Here again are the 5 places: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. It's important to understand that the nonprofits do things differently. First, they pay for some of the items the president and third stimulus does, but with different eligibility, like rent, utilities, food, mortgage assistance. But then they pay for other items that the federal government doesn't pay for. Let's say clothing, appliances, helping homeless people get into shelters. Yes, those are the nonprofits you want to rely upon. They're also featured in the newsletter. Finally, unemployment benefits. 2 of them. The refund check back from your state due to overpayment on unemployment benefits. That's landing. Average payment is about $2,000 to $5,000. Reach out to your state. That's the overpayment due to computer error. And then the refund check from IRS for the 2020 taxes you paid taxes on. Average payment is $1,200 to $2,000. Reach out to IRS for that at irs.gov and do a transcript search, and 70% of the time it works. Margaret got it, Cog got it, Michael got it, and you should get it as well. If you're in the live chat and you got in any of these sums of money, post your success story right now because you inspire other people. Finally, if you haven't become a member, consider becoming a member today. The membership link is in the video. By becoming a member, you get access to the newsletter sent out daily from me to you, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, from the LALATE alert system and the YouTube member alert system. It features all the big money on the first, second, and third stimulus. I want you to promise yourself to get this money as far in the future as possible. Lorraine's a great example. Remember $105,000 Lorraine? She's now approaching $110,000. She got more money. If you've gotten $1 or $10,000 from this channel or nothing, I want you to get as much money as far into 2022 as possible. They're likely not to bring back this rent under 4th stimulus. Number 2, I want you to lean on the nonprofits because those nonprofits are paying money really quickly right now. It's late summer, early fall. It's October. And guess what? As we go into October, as we go into fall, they're not still getting a lot of calls just yet. Come late October, early November, the calls start. You want to get the money now because the turnaround time is fast. And with that, we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, which will be a little bit more extended than 15 minutes with so much dramatics across the board. And we're starting right now with the dramatics of the exciting great news about your 4th stimulus check of 2021, IRS one. It's been shown on this channel over the last 8 weeks that advocacy works. And this week, Sanders' office, Schumer, AOC, and Jalopal reconfirming their private message over the last 8 weeks that there will be a stimulus check in there after you advocated. It started 8 weeks ago. I said, pick up the phone and advocate. And brother and viewers did. As WR at the time picked up the phone and advocated for the inclusion of a stimulus check for himself, for his family, and his community. And he called Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, advocated. And Coons' office said, yes, it's going in there, monthly stimulus check. 3 weeks ago, this channel really picked up speed, picked up a lot of force with a lot of exclusives, a lot of breaking news on the hour, by the hour. And at the time, I told you, 1, that the legislation is going to be written by the House Democrats. I was right. And number 2, I delivered exclusive that the House would vote first. I was right. That the Senate would vote last. That was correct. And that Bernie Sanders is critical of the equation. He is. He's the Senate House Democrat. He's the Senate Democrat in charge of the Budget Committee. And he's the guy that came up with the $3.5 trillion price tag. He's the guy who negotiated for the recon procedural. And 3 weeks ago, he said, unlike prior budget chairmen, I like to get out amongst the people when writing a budget bill. I said, that means he wants to hear from you. Pick up the phone and advocate. And you did. Lynn Glenn picked up the phone and advocated. Margaret and Brother Joshua did. All three, after the advocate, were told there's inclusion of a stimulus check by Sanders' office. Let's go over what advocacy looks like when talking about stimulus. It was 2 messages about a week ago today that showed us the extent of how you can advocate. Here are screen grabs from the community, from the live chats of the show, or from private messages on social media. Margaret writing, honestly, I and the woman on the phone start crying when I explained everything I'd gone through. Then another viewer saying, I've had 10 surgeries since my husband's passing during the pandemic. How is this not enough? I have to raise 2 teenage daughters on just SSI and SSDI. That's not enough. That's what Brother Joshua did. He's a 2020 volunteer to the community page, helped countless viewers get big money. And he picked up the phone and advocated for you, for himself, and for his church. And Sanders' office said yes. $1,000 or $1,400, 3 to 6 months. Same message that Sanders sent to viewers of this channel this week as well. But Sanders said, I need to hear from you. I need to hear that I have your support. And that's what Donnie, you met his wife early in this video. That's what Donnie said at the time. That's what Donnie did at the time. He heard my messaging to advocate, and he picked up the phone and he advocated. And this is what Donnie wrote after he advocated to Bernie Sanders' office. Let's look at Donnie's message. This is what Donnie wrote. Number 1, I called Bernie Sanders' office. The secretary said they're doing a forced stimulus check. Number 2, I said this is what I need. My city needs. I need to progress, and I need my water and everything. I told her. Number 3, and she said they're doing a forced stimulus check. The face of advocacy continued with Hurricane Tina, one of the earliest viewers of this channel. Picking up the phone, I called Bernie Sanders' office, writes Tina. I got through, and they did say they're putting a forced stimulus check in there. Advocacy continued day in, day out. Who to continue with? Lori. Continued with Purple Power Yaya. Spoke to another staffer who said they want to put, at Wyden's office, saying they want to put SS200 in there. And then Carolyn Smith, writing, I called Sanders' office, said we need help out here. People are losing their homes and what they got, and they agreed. Bernie is putting a forced stimulus check in there. By that point, we had the face of advocacy really picking up. But Will showed us why you have to make multiple calls. He called Bernie, Chuck, and Warren, Chuck Schumer and Liz Warren all in one day. And he writes, I explained my situation, and all 3 of the secretaries confirmed stimulus check. Liz Warren, he said the Senate is putting monthly stimulus check in there, $1,400 to $2,000, 4 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months. By that point, nearly 1,000 viewers of this channel had been told that the inclusion of a 4th stimulus check monthly IRS is going in there. Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, and Wyden's office telling viewers of this channel. But I said pick up the phone and call the Democratic House members like AOC Omar and Jayapal and Pelosi. And then the viewers started to do that as well. Paul calling AOC. They said they're going to be $1,000 in there thereafter, after the first month of $2,000 for 12 months. They assured me it's going to be added to the bill. Janice writing, yes. Jalapal also did say forced stimulus check is going in there. Janice got the same message from Omar's office. And Mark getting the message from Pelosi's office. Mark writing the following about his conversation with Pelosi. That there would be a forced stimulus check. The staff told me there would be a forced stimulus check, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, 6 to 12 months, and they're negotiating right now. It's with that we understand how this legislation was unfolding. That was absolutely consistent with what Pelosi and the president said last weekend and all this week as well. What did they say? That was passed last Saturday was sort of like an envelope. It's sort of like a work in progress. You want to add more stuff in there? You can add more stuff in there. And Pelosi said, come and add more stuff. In fact, it's her office said she's going to add more stuff. Every time now here's something new I'm going to say for the first time on Early Mornings LA. The president also said that's a work in progress. Add whatever you want to add in. And last week and the week before that, on 2 different occasions, the president walked back any Democrat who said the framework is done. He didn't like that language, the president. The framework is done because it sounds like etched in stone. The great news is that we've had consistency. President Pelosi, and all these nearly dozen Senate and House Democrats, telling 1,000 viewers of this channel, all use future tense verbs. Will be, going to, adding in, amending. They all talk about adding in the provision. So how do they add it in? 2 ways. On the House side, second on the Senate side. added on the House side. That is why Jalapal, Omar, and Pelosi and AOC's office said they're adding it by an amendment. They can add it in when they're marking it up in subcommittee. Or the senators can add it in on the Senate side. Remember, the senators vote last. Two-day vote-a-rama. They have the opportunity to vote last for the inclusion of those items. What happened yesterday was pure dramatics. I'm going to get to that in a second, but first let me go over fifth stimulus, because I didn't have a lot of time to cover it yesterday because of all the dramatics. Fifth stimulus starts in September and then starts drafting out the door in December. Yeah, we're in October now, but this can be done very quickly. It's the SSI and SSDI reform. First, raise your benefits up, then removes the benchmark, removes the current benchmark, applies a new benchmark, which is inflation, removes the asset cap, removes the income cap, and there you go. How much is the benchmark? Well, I have to laugh. I mean, how many times did I say on camera that I thought that inflation was going to 5% in December? And how many times did the Federal Reserve say, no, it's not? How many times did people on Wall Street say, no, it's not? Now they say we're currently at 5% inflation. Yeah, so I was right on point on the inflation number since when? June? Yeah, and in fact, now they say maybe my number's low, that maybe we are 5% right now, because it takes a while for the number to show up in the economy, and that we could be going to maybe 6, 7 in the next 60 days from now. And so that means when your benefits go up, they never go down. So if they go up 5% in December next year, they'll go up 5% lifetime. All right, let's touch on the dramatics. The dramatics that unfolded yesterday and this week really helped your recon. Why did it help your recon? What progressives and the president were betting on worked. What did they bet on? They betted on really isolating the moderate Democrats to sort of say, look, you're over there, you're doing this thing, and you're really not helping people. Their message to the moderate Democrats is you just want to talk about your own thing, and that when you make promises, you don't keep your promises. Promise number one, something about the debt ceiling limit. Pelosi furious that the moderate Democrats couldn't keep a promise about the debt ceiling limit in just less than 2 weeks. 2 bodies of legislation, roads and bridges, and bipartisan. They were not keeping their promise about that, and they were being called out by Senate Democrats, Liz Warren calling them out, Bernie Sanders calling them out. And then what were the moderate Democrats' reaction to the situation? Their reaction to the situation was really bad strategy for even a sophisticated person like Gothenheimer, who's a Harvard graduate. Well, maybe that's why it's not that smart. What was their strategy? Their strategy was to trash talk the other side. No. Taking personal attacks to the other side doesn't really work. If you think that you're not breaking promises, then explain you aren't breaking promises. What did they say? They said, the moderate Democrats said, you know what? The progressives, they are just a small group, a fringe sort of group. That was number one. Number two, yesterday, the moderate Democrats published an article that said, the recon's really not that great. Okay, that's really not good. People are trying to see what your position is. You're evading the question when asked by the president. And then you say the recon's not that good. Then, as if they had not really misguided the situation by really painting the progressives in a wrong corner, being evasive to the president, pissing off Pelosi by not keeping their promises. After they had done all that, how much worse could the moderate Democrats make it for themselves? Lying. Yeah. If you've done everything else, why not just lie at that point? And who do you not lie to or lie about? A New Yorker. Yeah, you don't want to piss off a New Yorker. As a person who used to live in New York, you don't want to piss off a New Yorker. You don't want to. And if you think you can really pull it off, get ready, because you ain't going to be able to pull it off. So who thought they could pull it off? A Virginian. Yeah. You're messing with the wrong state here, sir. What happened? The scandal letter. I just love the scandal letter because it's so much of nothing. It's just sort of ridiculous, but it shows you the level by which the moderate Democrats really felt their back was against the back and had to play so ridiculously silly about the situation that they were painted in a bad picture just in a blink of an eye. What happened? Well, the president kept on saying, I'm not hearing from the moderate Democrats what they want to do with the recon. I asked them, I have meetings with them, I asked them, I have meetings with them. They're not telling me that. So Suddenly, a document appeared. It's just one piece of paper. It's one piece of paper. It's dated July 28th, 2021, and the document was leaked to the press by one of the people who signs the bottom of the document. Who are the two people who sign the bottom of the document? One is the New Yorker. His name is Charles L. Schumer. He did not release the document. Who released the document? The Virginian guy, Joe Manchin III. Yeah, he released it. He signed it. And he didn't just release the document and say, hi, here's a document. He released the document to just absolutely go after Chuck Schumer and lie about the document. Oh, that's just not a good look, Joe. That's just not a good look. What did Joe Manchin do? He said that this document shows you that Chuck Schumer has already agreed to a $1.5 trillion recon since July. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. In fact, we actually have a law. We have the recon procedural that passed that you signed, Joe Manchin. That's $3.5 trillion. And guess what? The document doesn't even say that. He tried to take this document to say that the majority leader in the Senate has been lying to the American people for, well, I guess now it's a month and a half. Yeah, that's a bad look, Joe. Don't try it. He tried it. And then he also tried to say that himself, Joe Manchin, had agreed to a $1.5 trillion recon. No, you hadn't agreed to a $1.5 trillion recon. In fact, the president asked you this week, what did you agree to? And you wouldn't answer the question. Chuck Schumer, in fact, says that this document didn't even say that as well. It doesn't. So what happened? What was the net result of this? And this is the only reason I'm bringing it up to you. I'm only bringing it up to you to show you that the moderate Democrats are playing the wrong game because they're getting in a worse pickle by the hour. Chuck Schumer came out firing like any New Yorker would within 10 seconds of being called a liar, with the following statement from his spokesperson. Yeah, you wouldn't want Chuck to say it himself because it would have been a lot more fiery. Leader Schumer never agreed to any of these conditions Senator Manchin laid out. He merely acknowledged where Senator Manchin was on the subject at the moment. Wow. Senator Manchin did not rule out voting for the recon bill that exceeded the ideas he outlined, meaning that he certainly, at the time of that document, Manchin actually said he would go higher than the document says. And Leader Schumer made clear he would work to convince Manchin to support a recon that has been bigger, as he's been doing for weeks. Wow. Bad look. Bad look. Good look for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, but not a good look for a legislator. So what was the takeaway from the 24-hour period? Moderates pissed off the president. Moderates pissed off Nancy. Moderates pissed off Chuck Schumer. Moderates pissed off progressives. Moderates pissed off Americans. Moderates pissed off the cast of The View. I mean, just how many more people gotta piss off? They're not winning at really understanding that they're not becoming popular campers in this situation. The dramatics are far from over. Because there's so much dramatics that you see. I wish you could see my desk. I keep on laughing that I wish this was a cooking channel. So you had the camera up above and be shooting me, dicing my lemons or dicing my turnips below me. So you could see, I literally have on this side the 40 pages of notes from 12 different meetings yesterday. 6 meetings and notes from yesterday, 3 meetings from the scandal letter. It's just evolving, and I don't think it's going to come to a screeching halt today. I think that now that there's so much fire and brimstone, the news cycle is going to ramp up even more. It's all helping your recon. It's all helping your recon. That's why I bring it up. Not to make you think, oh, God, I'm waking up at breakfast time and there's more dramatics than my caffeine and my coffee. No, I want to show you that it's all helping your recon. The progressives going to the mat to protect your recon. Jalapa, AOC, Omar, Pelosi protecting your recon. The president protecting your recon by pitting the progressives against the moderates. The president even saying to the moderates, we have to have this recon. If you don't want to have the recon, then why am I here? You can just have a Republican president. Yeah, he actually said that. And then even the press secretary for the president, the Teal monster, even saying, the progressives do what they got to do. And the president has no problem with what the progressives do. Yeah, Everyone's loving the progressives. You're loving the progressives. So continue to progress with your advocacy to the progressives. On the Senate, the progressives are Ron Wyden, Liz Warren, Chuck Schumer, and Bernie Sanders. They are the people who've also said to you they're inserting a monthly stimulus check. Chris Coons, Casey, and others have also said the same. Over on the House side, those progressives are AOC, Omar, Jalapal, and in some regards, Pelosi. Those progressives want you to have every penny you deserve under this recall. The progressives ended yesterday with a very clear message. Actually, I think it was the day before, with Hakeem Jeffries, who's the number one caucus guy in the House. He's the Democrat caucus chairman. Hakeem Jeffries said that the intention for the Democrats is to get both bodies of legislation over the finish line. You think he could have worn a purple shirt when he said my line? Come on already, Hakeem. I know you're watching. Hi, Hakeem. So say hello to Hakeem if you see him in the live chat. Coming up today, we're going to have a lot of news cycles changing by the hour on the hour. Coming up, Mornings LA. Coming up next is Countdown LA at 7 a.m. Watch that show. Then we have Mornings LA, 9 a.m. Overnight's Crypto, I think, is airing live on this channel. And then join me at 11 a.m. with a new noontime as well. A lot of shows throughout the day, so join me. Subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and so is the scandal. And stay with Ally for more.